I'm going to introduce Ho'oponopono. Aloha. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I want you to know that what I remember about you, Jimmy, is that you and Alvin Shim were friends. And Alvin Shim changed my life. And so you meet people that change your lives, and the trajectory is unknown because of the quality of what you just experienced. And that was Alvin Shim. You know what I mean? What a guy. So he brought me in, Jane Yamashiro brought me in to learn the I Ching. Now the I Ching is the book of change, and he said, you know, sit down, I know you're Ohana, and they don't know how to talk to each other. I'm like, wow, you can talk like that, you know what I mean? Oh, I should say something. And he said, no. And then he knew Uncle Nane, Uncle Noah, Uncle Kep, you know, he knew my family. And then, you know, Rose, he said, Rose. I'm like, Grandma, sister Rose, who died in the 50s in Wailuku, I just happened to know that. And he goes, yeah. So he knew my family. So that trust was intimate and quick. And then he taught me the I Ching. And the I Ching, if you've never experienced, no, you all have. It's basically getting to know yourself, your wise person. It's not the book, it's you, your preparation to read what it's teaching you. So that process, and the I Ching is 5,000 years old, that process of preparing was, Alvin taught me. He had a really awful version of it, the yellow version. What's that one? Anyways, it's the German version. But there's thousands of versions. I remember going to, and so what I want to tell you about the I Ching is that it allows you to understand the necessity to really get old thinking. And that is, it's cyclical. Of course it's connected to everything. They didn't really say that, they just said one, you know what I mean? And so the learning about the cyclical nature, I mean really knowing, through doing the I Ching, you ask a question, help me to understand something, and then it keeps teaching you, which is you're teaching yourself. So Alvin gave that to me, you know, 30 years ago, 32 years ago. You know, so studying that book, he said, you know, you got to do it. And he called me a year later, because I'm a Hilo girl, and he goes, hey, so you working on the I Ching? And I go, no. He goes, why not? You know what I mean? I go, no. Because almost every other chapter it says you got to follow the sage, follow the sage. And I said, I don't know anybody like that in Hilo. I mean, Mona, you stupid or what? You the sage. And I was like, no fucking way am I the sage. You know what I mean? Like, no way. And I remember crying. And he laughed. He said, you slow or what? Yeah, not the sharpest crayon in the book. But what I got is repetition going for me. So when I was given that gift from Alvin, you know, like, why not? And that to me is at the center of mindfulness. A question that my mother taught us. And then I made a stamp, and all it said is, why not? So I believe we are our own limiters, like duh. But that film that you were supposed to watch it today, tonight after this. Because when I was teaching a class in Hilo, one of my students was surfing. And they told me at the end of class that she's in the hospital now. She's in a coma. Because she was, you know, Honolulu, if you know Hilo, Honolulu is the only break. And it's a left, it's beautiful. And it was like, you know, 4 to 8 feet. And so she cut school. She was 34-year-old, beautiful teacher. And she had a heart murmur. And they found her like this, with the board, you know, it's a leash. You're in the water. She drowned. So she, you know, so if you see a board like this, it's tied to a person. and they're on the bottom of the ocean. So, you know, they took her in, and right then, it was the first time the lifeguards had ever used those, and that was the first time they've ever put it on some kind of beach in Hilo. So they were unbelievably. So anyway, she was gone, and they brought her back, and then she was 4 days in a coma. So by the time I got to her, she said to me, "Manu, I'll see you in a week. Come and talk to me." So I went to her home in Pepe'ekeo, and she sat me down and she talked about her experience, and she said, "You can tell anybody, but they've got to be ready for it." And it's quite a story. So it's what you know, and that is when our body functions stop, we go into a different realm that is actually the same realm as here, except it's different. And I don't think language actually cuts it. And that's what they come back and they tell us, that it's the languaging, it's impossible to describe. She said it too, my friend. She said it's impossible to describe the bliss of it. It's impossible. There's no language. And then she tried, and then in the studies they tell us that they can't even describe the colors. It's so beyond and through us. And so when you watch the movie, I mean the documentary, it's made in 2011, like Where Have I Been? That's a long time ago. But they've been doing the research for 50 years. And they spoke about what Lilinoe taught me. And I asked her to tell me what I can tell others. She said quickly, "We are not our bodies." And you know what, as a Buddhist, I know that. I mean, like, what does intellect have to do with our awakening? Tell me this. You know what I mean? It's just like a cane when we need to run. So when you not understand that there's an afterlife, I mean, like, really, there's like like when our body shuts down, we don't shut down. You know, one of the most amazing sentences I've ever heard in my life is, the problem with the world is we actually think we were born. You know, that took me 30 years to fill that one through. So yeah, it's funny. So when you think you're born, then of course you get encapsulated into a personality and an ego. And that's what I think the Buddha was saying. He's saying we suffer because of that unawareness. And then the response is activity, action. So Makahanaka Ike, what's very valuable about these times is that we have to understand our own indigenous natures. It's not about race. We just think it is. Oops. It's not. It's about continuity. And continuity is about quality. And quality is about mindfulness. Like, it's the same synonym. And so the indigeneity of Hawaii is Hawaiian culture. So, you know, Kehao and I used to play volleyball. We were on the same volleyball team. You know what I mean? Like, wow. Yeah. You know, I just have to say, that is a gift, your teachers. Your teachers are your gifts, your family is your gift. And then to know that you are in Pa'ayao, you know what I mean? That is such a ho'ailona. So special. So it's like we're growing up together. You know what I mean? Our first iteration was through athletes, through, you know, trying to figure out yourself through bodily movement, I suppose. So it brings me back to Lilinoe's death and understanding of it. Oh. So when she said we're not our bodies, oh gosh, you know, Hawaiians are mana'o lana and mana'o i'o. Mana'o i'o is when knowledge goes directly in and then you know. So there is the knowing is embodied. Mana'o lana is the floating thoughts. So indigenous language is a doorway, because it is a doorway. I don't have to speak Hawaiian. I speak Hawaiian in English. So, and that I learned from Kamuela Enos, my favorite. Anyways, Lilinois said we are not our bodies, and death is bliss. But then she said, she came back, and this is what the research shows, that we come back to learn how to love. Period. Period. So I'm a philosophy professor on a good day, I suppose. You know, I mean, introducing cultural empiricism in the world, everyone just, you know, like I'm a joke. So I don't mind, because our empirical understanding of the world is shaped by our systems, our worldviews. And so, big deal. You know what I mean? Big deal. But what it does for me is risk the truth of how we differ and the beauty of what that means. I mean, so that's what I'm learning about afterlife knowledge. We have to see each other. And we have to see our difference. And in that seeing, difference is what we have in common. There's a beauty in figuring that out, so that we can fractal our energy into loving. So I love the inevitability of expansion. It's inevitable. But you have to have, you have to recognize it. The highest form of knowledge exchange in the Upanishads, I don't know where I found this, is remembering. And I appreciate that. It just, you recognize truth. Truth is recognized. You don't like, oh, let me think about this. No, it's recognizable. And so when we understood knowledge, the highest form of knowledge is remembering, it kind of connotes, what's that word? When you come back.
Reincarnation.
Reincarnation. I mean, like, that's a given. So we are all here again. And I think for the purpose to learn how to love. And so, you know, when the Kupuna said, you know, our true intelligence is aloha. You know, I mean, they kept saying that over and over, and I just was like, I couldn't hear it. But now I hear it. I really do. And I feel like I'm coming out of the closet, you know. Because it really is about loving. I bow down to that mother in me, and that sage. Because, you know, I'm not loving. I mean, I work at it. But that's why you gotta love. My twin sister's right here. I just hated her forever. You know what I mean? For so many reasons. And now, the best work of my life is learning this, how to love. And so I've had to forgive myself for throwing her in the naupaka for how many years. Wow. But she's a miracle. So if you don't learn to love what is different from you, you're going to want to fucking colonize it with your good intentions. So please, please see us for who we are. We are so amazing. And yeah, we're dysfunctional. But at the core of our culture is aloha. And that's what Alvin said to me. And there's Pilahi Paki, there's Atanana Viri, there's Nityananda, Chitvilasananda, and Muktananda, of course. You know, these are gurus, these are light beings. And I remember when I was ready to kill myself one year, Alvin, ring, and he says, well, have you read Nityananda yet? I said, no. And I went to a bookstore in Waimea, and I was just walking behind this book, fell on my foot. And this Muktam, and it was Nityananda, the teacher of Muktananda. You know what I mean? There's a mo'okua here, and we all have it. We do, even in the military. Even in the military. Yeah. I mean, that's a bodhisattva over there. So this is the thing. Once we know, when you see the documentary Afterlife, these three scholars, MD, PhD guys, I mean, not that, you know, but that's supposed to mean something. Because It's their life force, saying, pay attention to me. And I really appreciated them because they were clear, they were consistent, and they were intentional. And they all said the same thing. There is an afterlife. And for me, the afterlife is this life. After that life. You know what I mean? It's all an afterlife if you think of a holographic understanding of epistemology or ontology. It is all a hologram. And so I love it when you say it's just, we're all interrelated. We so are. And that's what they come back and they teach us. They come back and they teach us. So this is what I said to my friend student. Okay, I so get that we are not our bodies. We are light. She said we're light. We're energetic fields of light. I said, okay, I get that, but I want proof. I don't know. Just, being the... So I say, okay, so I go to bed that night and I say, okay, that which never sleeps, that which is not my body, wake my body up at 4:44. You know what I mean? So I'm lying in bed and all of a sudden I go, bing. And I turn my head, I'm like, oh my God, it's 4:44. So you know what I mean? Like, it's like going dun, dun, dun. Like, when are you gonna give it up, Manu? When are you really gonna get that we are all doing the same thing differently? That we are all the same differently. So it's that hologram. You've got to use the perceived opposite. You have to. It's the balance of the nature. And so they come back and they tell you this. So when I saw 4:44, I laughed, and I've been laughing. That was about 9 years ago. Yeah. So then, this is what the guy says. Dr. Moody has been doing this. He's the guy that developed NDE, near-death experience. He's the man who coined that term. He's still alive, and he is clear as a bell. And he looks right in the camera and he said, I don't think us knowing that there's an afterlife and that we're supposed to learn how to love in this life is going to change the world. This is not going to be nirvana, he says. This is not going to, he was amazing. So, yeah, wasn't that amazing? That 1 5-minute segment, I had to do it over. I'm like, oh, I know. And he said, I'll tell you this, if you understand that there is an afterlife, and we've got all the data we need, it's going to help us evolve. And I guarantee you it. That's what he said. I'm like, okay, Uncle, I'm there. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So what that means to me is that I knew that. I mean, I drive a motorcycle without a helmet. See? I mean, I used to. But I loved it. I had 3 motorcycles. So the point is, it's like life is just like just a tick like this. It's like ting, 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 ting. But what is the quality of our presence in it? That's why how many of us are in committees? What's the most important thing? Relationships. You know what I mean? You've been in all these committees, relationships. But it's the quality of your relationships that matter, not the fact of them. So then that quality then infers a type of principle. And I'm just learning that aloha is not one of the values. Aloha is the primal source of all of the values. You know what I mean? We just want to put it in there like it's a deck of cards. But it's the game and that which, causes that game to happen. It's the center of our lives. And when we're not in a state of aloha, we know it. We know it. Yeah. And that's why the Dalai Lama, that's why these wars, I believe they're part of a self-organizing system. The world is self-organizing. You think us little ants? Yeah, we can, but we're still ants. Ants have to touch each other to know where to go. And there's a little bit of a trail. But when you see one ant alone, aren't you like going, oh, where is everybody? And you know that ant is going to die. Because the Buddha said, Paticca. It is about dependent co-arising. You don't go like here and just go, yeah. No, you evolve mutually. The Hawaiians knew it too. Aloha aku, aloha mai. Kokua aku, kokua mai. People think it's about reciprocity. No, it's about simultaneity. The gift is in the giving. Love is about loving. So, it's just been verbs. I talked to my friend, Leroy Littlebear. If you've ever met some of the most, he's amazing. He's Blackfoot, but as he says in Canada, I'm black meter, he says. So Uncle Leroy, he's amazing. He's amazing. He says, Manu, we don't have nouns in my language. I go, what? What do you mean you don't have nouns? He goes, no, everything's a verb. Table is tabling. You know what I mean? So, that's old, you guys. That's old. Everything is a verb. So that verb nature is an energetic field of life. And we are that. So that I think practicing this mindful energy is really about accepting yourself. Period. Next. We have no time for nostalgia. This monk told me when I was going, this publication didn't work. And he says, Manu, we have no time for nostalgia. Like, wake up! You know what I mean? Wake up. Because the amplification is on. So we don't have to be in a group, although it'd be fun. But I live far away. But we're fractaling. We fractal off. So we have to fractal now in a way that is joyful, productive. So here's an olelo no eau that I know you will love this, Keha. Hahai no ka ua I ka ulula'au. It means plant a force and the rains will come. But because the Noahuna is the deeper, kind of Antimona Simeona take on an idea, which is absolutely cosmic. Share purpose with others and live a life of meaning. Or share purpose with others and transform the world. So in that sense, then we have to, the amplification of difference is to know the quality of that difference. And then we link based on your skill, your passion, and we link in an effortless effort thing. The Wu way of movement is through loving each other. Our words for knots in a net is called ku'u. Ku'u. Ku'u means beloved. Isn't that amazing? Mm-hmm. Ku'u. So the knots in a net, in Indra's net, is about loving. So try that out for size. So Hawaiians, when we're not in a loving state, we're in a hihia state. We're entangled. So we actually have a word for that, entanglement. And the untangling of that energetic field is a process of ho'opono, to get back to pono. And pono for me is truth. It's like the Buddha. When I saw truth as a synonym for pono, it really a penny dropped for me. So it wasn't it's goodness, it's righteousness, pono is a lot of words, but truth made it accessible. So, and that because I am a Buddhist in my own way, because of what I love about the Buddha's ideas. And one of the main ones is truth. Yeah, it's the main one for me. And that's what pono means. So you have to speak truth. You have to. And it's a discipline of mindfulness. I'm not, I'm a really bad student. I just have to ho'oma'ama'a, do it myself. So that's right. A'omai a'oaku. I, my teacher. A'omai a'oaku. So that simultaneity. So simultaneity ends up being the most vital thing in post-quantum physics. Did you know that? That's paticca samuppada. That's simultaneity. That's as you sow, so shall you reap. Weren't these guys great? Wasn't Christ amazing? His name was Jesus. Christ was his awakened state. That's a verb. You know, his name was not Buddha. His name was Siddhartha Gautama. Buddha was his awakened state. It means enlightened intelligence. You know what I mean? So anyways, so that's what I got from that video, a documentary. But what I'd like to ask is, what did you get? And how are you changed by remembering what you know, or discovering that I now can come out as a person that believes that the afterlife is a vital understanding that will expand our consciousness? Like, big deal. It's my big deal. It is. And so I am coming out of the closet. Being gay and being homophobic, that's my old story. Really. And I forgive myself. I do. I do. Really. So now I'm coming out as a person that really, really loves the potential of each of us and bows down to the quality of our engagement with it. So that's why it's so cool to come to this Wahipana, where our kupuna bones are here. Wow! Wow! That is spectacular to be in this Wahipana, connected to these kupuna, that is connected to the I Ching, that is connected to, you know, fire, earth, water, lightning, thunder, sky, earth. We're like, wow. So love land, serve people, that's all I know. Oh wait, it's serve land, love people. So yeah, it's simple, yeah. But the knowing that death is light, and death, you know. When my mom was dying, we sang E Kolomea Nui like, I don't know, 3,000 times. It's so beautiful, I love that song. And I was so happy for her that she was going. I'm so happy for you, Mom. I'm so happy for you. And so that's how I feel about death. I'm so happy for us that we are heading into an awakened state, and I believe that awakened state is now. Yeah. The plane was going down when I was going to Aotearoa the first time, the small plane, and I said to my friends, I'm so sorry you're with me because we're going to die now, the engine exploded. And you know, my two friends said, honey, you had a shit-eating grin on your face. Wow, to know you're going to die for 16 seconds? It's a party and we're all invited. Like, wow. That is like, wow, you guys. Now, we're in the exit row, so you've got to like lean over. And then they said, you were laughing when you were telling us lean over. So yeah, I really appreciate this opportunity to speak about the freedom found in discarding our bones and the miracle of life. You know what I mean? It is a miracle. It is a miracle. So yeah, I think we can do this. Alvin said, oh, just so you know, Alvin told me, I think I was only 33 years old, he said to me, with all these pictures of beloveds, kumu and gurus in the world, he said, pay attention. Hawaii is going to be pivotal in saving the world. Wow, Uncle, what? He said, yeah, and it's through Aloha. And so, and I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it. We gave surfing to the world. That's A-L-O-H-A. You know what I mean? There's so much to the beauty that is here. And geography shapes our knowing. It's an epistemological, sanctioned, quoted. But geography does shape our knowing. It does. And we have the beautiful opportunity to be shaped by this geography. So beauty educates me. I grew up in Kailua Beach. How's that? You know what I mean? In the early 60s. Nobody was there. It was the sticks back then. So I need to say that the ancient color of love is blue, and Nityananda knew that. So why is blue the ancient color of love? Because it's infinite. It's expansive. It's vast. That's wakea. Wa'akea. Wa. Everyone thinks that anthropomorphize the energetic field is so small. Because wa'akea is not a man. He's the masculine principle. He's an energetic field of expansion of life. Coupled with ho'ohoku kalani. Oh my Lord, what a mo'olelo that is. Ho'ohoku kalani means the causative agency of the stars, coupled with infinite space-time that created Halo and Kulana O Kapolei are Ieve. Life. Life. So it's not a story of incest and a dead baby. You know what I mean? So what we've been given is we need to firm it up so that it's inspiring. So be inspiring in your demeanor, because people will ask, "Who are you?" And then you can say, "You." And then simultaneity happens, right? It's like that, and it happens on its own accord. It's not like, okay, can I have your card? Anyways, that's what I know. And so it's an honor to be here, to connect with friends and family, and to really thank Alvin for bringing a type of quality into my life, because he laughed all the time. He could tell he was naughty. By the time he died, he was like Jabba the Hutt, with no feet, no legs. You know what I mean? He was like amazing. But this is dedicated to Alvin, because when you get given tools, use them. And the I Ching was a tool that got me to know that there's no obstacles. It's only me. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. Thank you, everyone.
Well, we're not done yet.
No, I can't wait to
We're
hear
going to have a conversation
Yeah.
with you, right?